This is the draft introduction video. This is just going to give you an overview of what you need to do, what you and your group need to do to complete the draft introduction assignment by the due date listed on the syllabus. So the first part of this is to select a topic, right? A research topic for your final presentation. And what you're going to do is you're going to write 4 research questions. Now remember with all of this that we're writing a draft. And so, the questions that you settle on now are not necessarily going to be the questions that you end up with at the end of the paper. The topic that you settle on now is going to get more specific as you start reading through articles and learning more about the topic. So the goal here is just to settle on a topic so that and settle on some research questions so that your group is all starting to kind of look in the same place. So maybe you're interested in the effects of media violence on aggression, or maybe you're interested in the effects of social media use on self-esteem, or you're interested in the effects of drug use on academic performance. You want to sort of think in terms of that X and Y, and we talked about when we talk about independent dependent variable, right? X causes Y, X leads to Y, that kind of thing. And as I'm saying that out loud, I realize that we haven't talked about that yet in this class. That was another class, but that's okay. You want to think about that sort of statement of, something causing or affecting some other thing. I want to know about, the effects of sleep loss on concentration, or the effects of music on memory, something like that. Okay, once your group has selected a topic, you want to come up with 4 to 6 questions for the group. Obviously, the more questions you have, the better. And then what you want to do is start looking for sources. Now, I'm going to assume that in your Research Methods 1 class or at some point here at CSU, you have learned how to use the databases on the library's website. What I'm looking for each group member is 6 sources. Ideally, that would be 2 books or book chapters and 4 journal articles. By book chapters, what I'm talking about are edited books, where the book itself might be on one topic like media and aggression, and each chapter is written by a different author that goes over a specific instance. So maybe chapter 1 is, movies on aggression, and chapter 2 is video games on aggression, and chapter 3 is, protective factors that decrease aggression and those kinds of things. That's what I'm referring to when I talk about a book chapter. Your sources need to be different for each group member. And you're going to need 6 of them. If you can't find books or book chapters, that is okay. You just get 2 additional journal articles. Okay. I give you some example articles in here. There are example journals that are useful. American Psychologist Psych Review. These are journals that are going to give you sort of comprehensive literature reviews. And the purpose of this portion is to just gather the raw materials together to start writing a draft of your introduction. So you're going to need 6 sources per group member. So that means if you have a group member, or if you have a group of 4 people, then you're going to end up with 24 different sources that you're going to be using for your final project. Additionally, these need to be peer-reviewed journal articles. News articles, articles that you find on the internet, those do not count. Right? So they need to be peer-reviewed, published in academic journals. Once you've settled on a topic, you've got some research questions that are sort of general, that can sort of guide you into what you're looking for, then you're going to want to write 6 draft paragraphs. Each group member will write 6 draft paragraphs. You will also include an APA-style in-text citation and an APA-style reference for each of these paragraphs. Okay. Now, for each of these, you want to read through and you want to write a summary of the article. And I give you some guidelines to help organize the paragraph. Why did they do their research? What was their hypothesis? How did they operationalize their variables? How do they measure their variables? How do they do the study? What did they find? And what does this tell you about your research question or your ideas? What did you learn? Importantly, for these paragraphs, there's not like a right answer here. I'm not looking for how accurately you summarize these articles. Right? Think about what we talked about when we talked about paraphrasing and putting this into your own words, right? I don't care exactly what their results were, or exactly what their methods were. What I care about is your understanding of their study, what it means to you, what you learned from it, and how that relates to your topic of interest. Okay, and again, remember, these are drafts, right? So it doesn't need to be nice and neat. It doesn't need to read well. It can be ugly, right? What we're trying to do is gather just raw materials, right? At the end of this, if each group member has 6 paragraphs and you have 4 people in your group, you're going to have 24 paragraphs that you can then use in the next phase of this project for the revised draft. You can use that to start weaving together an introduction, putting those raw materials into a paper that will make sense. So right now it's just a draft. Once you've got your 6 paragraphs, right, you want to submit 2 things. You are going to submit a group paper and you are going to submit an individual paper. Your group paper will be, I'm sorry, I just noticed that I have misspellings that I'll just fix real quick because I can't spell. Your group submission will be the combination of all 24 paragraphs if you have a group of 4. If you have a group of 2, it'll just be 12 paragraphs. Right? So each group member will take their 6 paragraphs and you'll copy and paste it into a single Word document with all of your names at the top and ideally all of your APA style references at the end. Then one person from the group will submit that to the group Dropbox online by the deadline. Everyone in the group will then also submit their individual 6 paragraphs to the individual work. I will not grade these, I won't read through them individually, right? But this is just to document your contribution, right? To show me and your other group members that you are putting in an equal amount of work to the project. So that's the draft introduction. That's what you need to do by the date on the syllabus. If you have any questions between now and then, as always, don't hesitate to email me.